Hi everyone, and thank you for being here today with ProQuality community. My name is Vyacheslav, and today we will delve into the topic that is quite familiar for all quality assurance engineers, regression testing, and how we can optimize it. And we are thrilled to have three experts in quality engineering today, Maskim, Olga, and Igor. All our speakers started their careers in testing as testing engineers and have gained a wealth of knowledge that they are eager to share with us. Guys, nice to see you here in ProQuality community today.
Hey, hi.
Hello,
Regression
guys. Hello, colleagues.
regression testing is quite complex area, and our session is going to span over an hour. So I have a quick question for you. Can you guys give a little information what our audience can expect from today's session?
Okay, today this is an interesting topic. Regression is a quite popular thing, and it could be a lot of problems. And definitely today, probably will be not solvable, but it will be an interesting part related to the what is possible problems and possible solutions. So stay tuned, and you will be see how to do this.
Okay, so looks like our session today is expected to be quite interesting and full of insights from your practical experience. Yeah. Dear audience, before we start to our main part, I would like to inform that we will be using Mentimeter tool to interact with you. So, dear colleagues, please join our session in menti.com, so you can scan QR code that you can see on the screen, or go to menti.com and enter the code that you can see on the screen. You can do it either using your browser or mobile phone. So, and if you successfully join, could you please, like this slide to inform that everything is fine. And also, we will be using Mentimeter tool to gather all your questions that we will address in the end of Q&A session to our speakers. So feel free to post your questions during the session, and we will collect all of them in the end and ask our dear speakers. And let's move on. And we prepared quick question for you. Two quick questions. So how often do you think regression testing could be more efficient? And we have four options: rarely, sometimes, often, always. Please choose the items that suit more. Okay, often. Okay, so often. So as often as possible, yeah? Probably. No any replies about rarely, so everybody understands that it's quite important thing in any development process, yeah, to do regression testing, especially before some big releases, probably, yeah, to production. Okay, thank you all. So we see that quite often it happens. And let's move to the next question. What do you think is the problem with your regression? And we have four options here as well. Six options. Huge scope, not enough time, improper functionality coverage, too complex test cases, insufficient test automation, and no requirements. Okay, so not enough time is on the top of our question, yeah? Okay, so no requirements is also one of problem. Insufficient test automation, yeah, quite often. Okay, huge scope, yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for your answers. Improper functionality coverage to complex test cases. Okay, let's maybe wait a little to get more results. I see 25 people joined us. Okay, not enough time is on the top. Cool. Let's move to the main part, and let me pass my word to Igor, who will continue.
Okay, thank you, colleagues, for your voting. You see that definitely it's some pain points is existing, and it's needed to do something. And in general, if we are talking about regression, and do we need a change at all? So in case of we are living in a fairy tale in a magic world, and in case you have unlimited budget, no time pressure, great quality, and something like no resource constraint, definitely you don't need to do anything, because you have everything, you have time, you have budget, you have money, everything, and that's all. So in this case, you don't need to do anything. But we are living in real life, and very often, and this is also regarding to our voting, that we have limited resources, tight schedule, also somehow negative feedback or pain point from client, customer, and problem with quality. So in this case, definitely we need to handle this and to maintain and to improve our regression testing. So let's try to understand and to define what to do. Please, next slide. So the main part, this is probably the most important and critical step, to identify root cause of inefficiency. You should be precise, and you should be something like a doctor. You need to definitely, firstly, to identify the diagnosis, and after that, to treat it. And this is the main part. It could be problematic, it could be time-consuming, but definitely this is the main reason, the main focus of the investigation, and after that you go in and trying to solve the problem. So try to define the problem. Having a clear description of issue help to focus the investigate and keep goal-oriented. Then you need to gather data, collect info about the problem. It could be any kind of the information. So related to the problem, such like a test log, performance issue, execution logs, team client feedback, or other relevant information. After gathering this information, you could collaborate, you could crystallize this main problem, analyze this evidence, and you could use any techniques, something like 5 whys or fishbone diagrams, investigate potential root cause and evaluate its significance. And after that, when you have something like idea, or you have a couple of issues, a couple of problems, but you try to range it by priority. Yeah, the main priority is the main root cause, and go one by one, step by step, and try to solve the one problem at once. And in the end, validate the root cause and cross-check your finding. You could also conduct experiments or collecting additional data if needed to support your idea. So after this step, we have a goal, we have a problem, and also you need to understand that it could be something like additional influencing factor which you need to take into account. For example, project itself, the product complexity, architecture, the functionality plays a significant role in determining the depth of regression testing. Domain area, for example, regulations, standards, or compliance requirement, it also very significant role in the regression testing process. For example, banking, healthcare, and so on. Project phase, the current phase of the software development also affect scope, affect priority, and the whole regression testing. For example, what we have something like phases. This is a new feature development, support, bug fixing, etc. Also, please pay attention in case you have something like a contract agreement with a client, with a product, with the users, with anybody, with any side of the relationship. So the contractual obligation between development organization, between development team and the client customer, and also it can impose some constraints. So, for example, you have some deadlines here to go to the production. You have some limited regression testing time. You have some specific quality guarantees, for example, no P1 issues, and so on. So all performance benchmark which should be run and should be met expectation of the client. And also client customer paid points. This is also it's not obvious, but it's very, very useful. Understanding and addressing the key concerns of your users, of your clients, and prioritize. It also focus on this problem, because if you go to the client, they definitely could say a lot of information regarding to the previous problems, previous issues related to the whole process, what they want to do, what they want to achieve. And this information is very helpful, and you can use it and also improve your regression testing based on this. Okay. And after some preparation, after identifying the problem, let's check the basic solution what we have. No silver bullets there, but we will try to define the main areas what can be improved. The first part. This improve test cases. Test cases, this is a part of regression testing. Yeah, we are running test cases, we executing, we have a lot of them, and as a result, the quality of test cases, the coverage, the granularity, this is very, very important. So the first problem could be redundant test cases. It could be a lot of them, but it could do nothing, for example. Yeah. In this case, prioritize them by risk, by importance, by impact, anything. Remove duplication if it's possible. Combine similar cases, optimize test cases, so to make them less. In case you have, for example, automotive repetitive or data-driven test cases where the same test cases and a lot of data configuration, in this case possibly to automate and to save the time. The next problem is probably insufficient coverage. Utilize effective test design techniques, any of them, what is usable for your application. Analyze bug statistic for component area, and also identify what is the problem for some components, for some area, identify gaps. Definitely this also help test case review. Peer review, for example, one person is writing, one team member is writing test case, another one is reviewing, and this also help to collaborate to identify some gaps, missing test cases, and so on. And also, definitely, you need to monitor and adapt for changes related to the products, related to the requirements, and so on. So the third option, this outdated test cases. Definitely, you faced with this, because in case we are talking about some long products, long execution, requirements are changing, test cases are changing, and this is a process, definitely. So regular test suite review, find obsolete test cases, update them, or just remove, just to clean your test suite and do not execute these obsolete test cases and so on. Update test cases in sync with product, so keep test case up to date. This is definitely the basic things. And track product changes, stay informed about your potential impact. And the last one related to cases, in case we have a complex and time-consuming test. So simplify structure, organize test cases, and to make it easier to understand. Break down, for example, for modular component, decompose large test cases, and optimize test cases and expected outcome. So these steps after optimization could help you to improve your test cases and run a regression smoothly. So the next problem on the next slide, this risk-based regression and prioritization. This is the main topic, and it's very popular. We have a lot of voting related to the not enough time, and this method will be used in case we have limited time, limited resources, and in case everything to test is not feasible. So try to identify and prioritize high-risk area. Evaluate components that carry the highest risk, such as complex or frequently modified section, core functionality, or features that directly impact user experience. The next option for this particular category, this is root cause analysis of past defects, high impact problems. This analysis provides insight for potential areas of regression where you need to pay attention, enabling more your effort during the regression. Then focus on affected area during the release. Definitely, this is the most important part, because changes in this model, changes in the functionality, and probably the high potential of finding new bugs, new problems, and so on. So during software release, concentrate on the areas mostly likely to be impacted during the changes. And again, during the regression, addressing regression bug. You finding new bugs, you finding new problems, try to involve, identify, and understand these bugs, performing root cause analysis, and deep dive if it is possible to assess risks, to perform additional testing, exploratory if it needed. Okay, and one more model. This is definitely in case we are talking about regression testing. Automation. This should help you in case we are talking about regression testing. Definitely automation, we could not automate everything. Definitely this step needs preparation, need time, need investment, but as a result, in case it's possible and applicable on your project, on your product, it will definitely worth it. So define the first, is it possible to implement this? Because in case we are talking about, for example, support product, and if you run regression once in a blue moon, in this case, definitely not. Yeah, we could execute regression testing and forgot for half a year, for example, and so on. In case we are running through development cycle, we need to, for example, to implement a huge functionality. We are going fast, we are going forward. And in this case, probably this should be a good idea. So incremental automation helps to save time, to execute previously regression fast, and have a fast feedback. So to do this, prioritize and automate test depth. Firstly, usually, automation started a bit with some after some time when started development. So in this case, it will be some test depth and prioritize factors such as risk, complexity, frequency execution, and potential impact. So the first part of the regression to automate, it will be in the first step. Then you need to implement this like a rapid feedback loop. This will be a part of CI/CD, and regression test will be running on continuously integration, continuously deployment pipeline to facilitate a rapid feedback between development and testing team. And this is really the great benefit of this. Continue incremental automation. incorporate automation into the testing framework workflow. So each new requirement, each new implementation or incremental of the product will be added to the automation. So this will be the great benefit. And you need to know also that automation, you need some maintenance and support, definitely. This is like the same like a code of implementation. Product is updating, some pages updating, database changed, new functionality implemented, and so on. So the previously implemented test cases need to be supported, and this is ongoing process. So you could not able to, for example, to implement once a time and forgot everything. No, it's not possible. And this also should be counted that you need the whole support of this functionality. And very interesting part related to the end user testing. So you could use also as a part of extending your regression, of extending your testing. On many products, on many projects, end user testing, something like UAT, is very popular, it's very common. Some business users, some business subject matters are wanted to use this functionality to try this before releasing. And in this case, you could use and you should use this possibility as extend your regression. For example, in our experience was that we extend some additional platform browsers configuration and agreed with end users, so they run this acceptance testing on our platform, on our configuration. And definitely, in case of you have limited resources, limited time, you're not able to run the whole scope, this will help you. So user acceptance testing involves real users interacting with the software and validating and meeting their needs, expectations. So you could help and collaborate and define the scope of the UAT, the configurations, the browsers, some functionality, and so on. A/B testing. A/B testing is also like validating a small part of functionality. Yes, this could be, for example, feature 1, feature B, and small audience of the end users working with part A or part B. And also you're monitoring, you're trying to see what is more stable or, for example, more likable, which is path is more profitable, for example, in your application. Canary deployment, it's you need very stable DevOps and advanced DevOps. So possibility to deploy 2 versions of your application. For example, previous release, stable release, and new release, which is you plan just to go to production. It will be deployed at the same time, like a parallel version, and also some part of audience will be redirected, will be routed to the new version. And canary deployment, this also help like to define, in case we have limited resources, we have a limited, for example, QA team, we could expand regression, something like regression for a limited audience of end users, and they will work with the application. During this time, team will support, monitor any problems, any possible issues, and try to resolve as soon as possible. And after some dealing after finishing some canary deployment, after validating the whole part and making sure that everything works fine, it could be released to the whole environment, to the whole audience. End user testing, for example, this area is very popular, for example, also for limited resources. And even some corporates, some products are often used this, for example, JetBrains. You could, for example, download the latest products from JetBrains for free but it will be something like a development version. You know that it could be some problems, some issues. Automatically they will be logged and get all information from you to the servers, but you're not paying, for example, $50 for license, just using the free application, but you're also helping JetBrains to solve this problem. So end users can help identify and report any usability or any functionality issues that may have been introduced during this time. So the next part, I will be glad to send the words to the Maskim. Maskim, stage is yours.
Thank you, Igor. Hi, colleagues, once again. And now let's dive into innovative approach to optimize our regression testing process, leveraging some external resources. So in dynamic landscape of software development, ensuring the reliability and performance of our application of software development, ensuring through effective regression testing is paramount. But often we see the complexity in terms of resources, in terms of tools, approaches that we should utilize during the regression testing, right? And that is a challenge. And here you can use some external resources that will help you to prepare for regression, like crowd platforms, testing as a service, freelancers. You can also involve specialized testing companies or introduce some bug bounty programs. So if you're talking about the testing as a service, so imagine having access to their scalable, flexible testing infrastructure without the overhead of managing physical resources. Imagine being able to scale up, scale down resources as it needed. So actually, testing as a service provides such possibility. This not only reduces infrastructure costs, but also allows you to scale testing effort in alignment with the project or product needs. So one example, you need to test your application on the latest smartphones, maybe tablets, TV stations, desktop, across different operation systems. So you can utilize testing as a service. If you're talking about the crowd source testing, so it opens the door to diverse pools of testers around the globe. And this diversity is invaluable for regression testing. So by engaging with the crowd, we can rapidly execute a wide of test scenarios, enhancing our application's robustness and user satisfaction. If you're talking about the freelancers, again, by collaborating with the freelancers, with the testers, so we gain the flexibility to ramp up, ramp down the testing efforts on demand. And it will allow you to open the doors to diverse expertise and specialized skills maybe that you are looking for validation of your application. So another example, let's assume launching a mobile application that will be used worldwide. So both crowd and freelancers can ensure that your application works seamlessly across different regions, devices, operation systems, localizations, locale specific issues before they will go to end users. If you're talking about the specialized testing firms, so again, imagine you work in a small team in a startup even, where the main focus on the feature development. And as soon as you realize the product is developing, you may be faced with a situation that there is a need of the quality. And here you can involve the testing companies to ensure the quality of the product. And your core team will still continue focus on the feature development. And if you're talking about the bug bounty programs represent a unique approach to uncover vulnerabilities and issues through the collective effort of global security and testing community. So you can introduce and launch this program inside your team or outside your company. And again, involve some security experts that will assess your product for some security issues. Let's move on, and on the next slide, you might see the streamlined workflow for the crowd testing. So definitely, you should understand and do some thorough analysis of your product testing needs, challenges, objectives that you would like to achieve. You need to go through the selections of appropriate crowd testing package that align with your product requirements and available resources. Then you need to build your team with the required skills, expertise. You need to assemble this dedicated team. You need to understand which actually engineers you're looking for in terms it will be automation engineers, functional testers, performance security engineers, and so on. Definitely, you need to have the full access to the infrastructure, to the tools. You need to make sure that the tools and framework are the best suited to the product testing needs. Then you need to design a comprehensive test strategy with detailed scope, approach, and schedule. You need to develop test suites, test cases that need to be run. You need to refine and check for feasibility your test automation framework. Then we are slowly moving to the phase of executing and monitoring. You just need to execute it, monitor testing process continuously to adjust to some I don't know, any unexpected issues. Maybe you missed some permissions and so on. And last but not least, we are talking about the review, feedback, and process optimization. So you need to host a feedback session and review results, discuss those issues if there are any, and refine the testing strategy if it needed. Go next. So it wouldn't be complete if we didn't touch the topic of AI, right? So AI is growing so fast and already affected all the phases of software development lifecycle and software testing lifecycle and many, many other. So we have to learn how to utilize our AI tools and extensions in order to make our regression testing more efficient. So artificial intelligence in regression testing introduce smart automation. We can use AI to predictive analysis. It will help us to do some intelligence decision making and many, many other aspects. So key advantages of AI in regression testing definitely enhance test automation. As we already mentioned, predictive analysis, we can receive faster feedback, and it will reduce the test flakiness. So definitely when we do some manual verification, we might see that we are all human and we are making errors. So, but if we using AI tools, definitely AI tools has some limitation assumptions and so on, and we need to understand which tools and how we should use all these AI capabilities in terms of regressions or in other areas. But anyway, if you prepare solid frameworks how to use AI tools, it will eliminate some flaky tests. It's what else? Optimized test coverage. It will have with some basic tasks like create test data, create some checklist for functionality, find some deduplications in your test case management tools, and so on. So the implementation of AI in regression testing involves integrating AI-powered testing tools into the existing testing frameworks, processes. We need to train our AI models with some historical data, or it's like a new data, and we need to continue review it. So to overcome those challenges that currently we have in traditional regression approaches, we need thoroughly choose AI-driven tools and prepare some strategies how to bound all those capabilities to our process. So small suggestion, start your journey with some small tasks. Try to utilize some AI tools on some small routine task, and then gradually expand AI to other aspects of your testing. So as you can see, this iterative approach, and this iterative approach ensures a smooth transition and maximizes the impact of AI on your regression testing processes. Okay, if we're talking about how to start AI, maybe it's not needed to spend some time, resources, money, budget to onboard some AI to your project. So definitely you need to begin with some assessment of your current process. You need to understand what kind of goal you're trying to achieve by introducing AI capabilities into your project. You need to build and clearly understand the objectives. Then, if you're talking about what next, assuming that you understand that definitely it's a long-term project, you understand that you potentially will receive and gain benefits of using AI, definitely you need to do a proper research and select appropriate AI tools and platforms that will align with your testing needs. Additionally, do not forget to ensure that all those AI tools can be easily integrated into your, let's say, frameworks or CI/CD pipelines and so on. What else? We need to identify what kind of skills gaps we have in our team regarding AI, and we need to arrange and conduct some trainings to build AI competency within your team practice. And do not forget to foster a culture of continuous learning to keep pace with evolving AI technologies and methodologies. And as a result, we already discussed a few approaches that you can use in terms of regressions. And on this slide, we would like you to share what kind of benefits potentially you receive by introducing it. So first, efficiency and speed, comprehensive coverage and quality, cost efficiency, scalability, faster time to market. And definitely when you talk to your stakeholders, talk to your customer, talk to business people, you need to provide some metrics, KPI that will be understood by those. Because usually we talk to technical stakeholders, but sometimes you have access to the business people and they don't understand what, like if you're telling, okay, it will increase our velocity by 30%. They will not simply understand what you are trying to share to them. So try to convert those metrics to the language that will be understood by the business people. And here, like faster time to market, it's one of the main metrics that will be understood by your stakeholders. For now, that is all. Thank you. And now I would like to invite Slava once again, and he will proceed. Slava, stage is yours.
Maxim, Igor, thank you so much for enlightening the first part of our event, and we are in the middle. And I think that your potential solutions that you provided, it's worth to trying them. I think either if you start, guys, your new project or new product development or existing ones. So they should be quite useful in your experience. And before we dive into use cases part, let's take a brief pause and engage a little a fun activity to check what's your mood. So we prepared one quick warm-up question for you and kindly ask you to participate in this quick question, and we will move on after that. So if your mood were a song, what it would be? And we have 6 options here. Inspired, everything is okay. I'm fighting hard, but I'm managing. Whatever, it's all complicated. I don't understand anything, or your version. Okay, so everything is okay. We have 2 questions, so 2 answers, sorry. Everything's okay is leading in our chart.
I really like the second one, everything is okay.
Yeah. And also kindly remind us that, guys, you can post your questions here using our minty.com. There is a special button, and also we have received several questions, so you can like the ones that you see interesting for you, and we will start with them on our Q&A session. Okay, so we have received several answers, and the leader of our question is everything's okay. So I think that it's a good sign for us to continue, yeah? And let me pass my word back to Maskim, and we will start use cases part, where our dear speakers will share now more interest in their own experience on real projects. So guys, giving floor to you.
Thank you once again. Hope, colleagues, you found it not so boring. So let's proceed, and I will start with 2 my real case studies, which I had on one of the project. So here is some highlight of my project. So I worked on some telecommunication domain, and the goal of this project was to introduce and implement a multimedia hub based on set-top boxes. We had both onshore and offshore team. We also had some challenges, and if you're talking about the challenges, I would like to highlight that we didn't have the proper testing pyramid. We didn't have a proper test automation coverage on both. Okay, on backend side it was pretty good, but on the UI side it was a nightmare. What else? If you're talking about the which platforms, which countries we need to support, so we had a few countries, and each countries might have different configurations, including multi-room configuration. When I talk multi-room configuration, I meant that like a few boxes, 2, 3, 5 boxes can be combined into the one configuration, and you can manage it. We also support both AP and QAM streaming as well. We had frequent releases, and it was not in a parallel. So for different countries, we had different release versions. So we tried to manage it using feature flags. And each country had some specific to this country, some features, some limitations based on some local law and so on. And my first case, it was an approach how we conduct our regression when we, let's say, preparing for release. So first of all, we do some market and device data analysis. So the purpose of this is to understand what market features and devices usage will be used to prioritize our testing efforts. Previously, we even implemented some country configurability matrix, and later I will share how this artifact look like. What else? We also developed a comprehensive testing strategy, and we segmented some test cases based on priority, risks, impact, and so on. Also, we assess our test automation frameworks and see if we already have some cases, scenarios that need to be utilized, or we need to add some more and try to automate them. And if you're talking about the automation, we had a remote STB farm, so it's also a challenge. We need to focus. It was like an approved approach. We need to focus on a new feature that just recently implemented, and for almost all the features, it was agreement that our regression team and build validation team need to run all the critical path tests that previously was written by features teams. We also engage some selected end users in testing to gather feedback as early as possible. And this done in parallel with some feature testing to maximize time and resources. Also, we utilize both ad hoc and exploratory testing to uncover some issues not defined through structured testing processes. And what are our key considerations? So, as you can see, you might notice that some activities overlapped and conducted in parallel. This approach is intentional to maximize resources utilization. As well, if you're talking about the time, so the timeline should be flexible to accommodate shifts in priorities or unexpected findings during the testing processes. So usually when we had timelines for regression, we also asked for some buffer for some unexpected issues. Sometimes it was configurations, environment issues. Sometimes we need to adjust our feature because there was inconsistency between what is written in country specifications and actually what is written in our product specifications. And as well, what else? Please we also ensure that ongoing communication with all the stakeholders are going to keep everyone informed of what is going on, of the current process, of all the findings and adjustment that we do. And my second case, it was very interesting case. So actually, we participated in one activity. So it was introduction of a brand new STB platforms with new hardware and software. So despite the initial proposals, the customer mandated, let's say, exhaustive testing. So it was agreed that we will build a brand new team. We will add them a more realistic time to execute almost all the test cases that we have. And just for information, that we had around 30,000 test cases. And it took almost 9 months to execute all those test cases. And during this execution, this new team should have been supported not only legacy, let's say, features, but new features that currently in development. Sometimes, as you can see, aligning with the customer-driven approaches, despite some risks, maybe because maybe you created a proper test strategy saying that we don't need to run all those test cases, and we using this risk-based approach, we can save like 30% of the time. But if you follow the approach that your customer asked to do it, you will create a more good relationship with your customer. So one of the key takeaways from this approach, I would say that sometimes we need to not only hear, but listen to our customer. And on my next slide, could you please go next? Yeah, thank you. On this slide, you might see what kind of country compatibility matrix we had. And this artifact helped our build validation team and regression team to properly build a strategy when they define scope for regression. because maybe it's not needed to run all the test cases for some specific platform, because for some platforms we had almost 99% equal hardware and software. So if you execute, I don't know, extended test for one platform, maybe it's worth to check only a few smoke tests or partially execute critical path test for another platform, just to save you time. Thank you once again. That is all from my side. And now I'm passing the word to Igor.
Igor, sorry, you are muted. Could you please unmute and start with the very beginning, if you don't mind, your case?
Okay, guys.
Yeah,
Is it okay now?
hear you. Yeah, we hear
Okay.
you. All
Okay,
good.
sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
So the next case is from my experience. So it will be related to the incremental release automation. A couple of words about the case, a little bit description. It was a dev team, 12 developers, mostly of seniors and leads. It was quite very, very extensive, and huge functionality incremental each release cycle. And also, it was multiple testing configuration. It was something like different browsers, operation systems. It also some mobile devices and so on. So you can multiply all of these configurations, and we will see that it's quite many platforms. And it was something like also time constraint related to the release cycle, time to market, every 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we go to production. This quite challenging task. So we decided to start from the beginning with automation. So it was something like some Selenium plus .NET, and please could you go to the next slide? And as you can see that almost all functionality, almost all test cases was covered by automation. So about 97% of requirements of test cases per requirements was automated during the release. It was a part of definition of done. So every story, if it's feasible to automate, it will be automated. And only probably 3%, the rest of the test cases which not possible to automate, it was something like a manual. And during the running regression, it was a huge scope of automation. And also automation was running every day, every platform, each configuration during the nightly. And every morning we analyzing the results, analyzing the problems, and finding early solution. Any defects, any problems, and started analyzing. The next morning. And as a result, it was quite a useful case. We managed this challenge to go to the release every 2 weeks. So we was able to do sign off of the quality during the day. It was something like the last day before release, running automation plus some backlog, some manual queue. And during the running automation, it's also probably a couple of failures, a couple of issues. It was also rerunning by manually, and some additional exploratory ad hoc testing was also applied. And I can show you some pros and cons related to this approach. So what we managed, fast feedback every day, and every 2 weeks we were able to finalize, to sign off the quality of the product. Good test coverage, so amazing. A lot of platforms, a lot of configurations, and yeah, it will be a nightmare to run this manually. Multiple platform supports, yeah, so all configurations and possible variants was covered, and adding new platform configuration, it was not a problem, yeah. Even we are using, for example, something like browser stack and so on, so it's possible to use any configuration, yeah, indeed, just to add some config file, and automatically we could run automation on this. Stable regression suite, but definitely it was you need to pay time, you need to maintain, you need to create a good automation framework to do this. Low manual testing effort, and yeah, as you can see also, the main target, it was like a short time to market, 2-week releases, and we were able to do this. Related to the cons of this approach, you need some additional skills, yeah. We started, for example, this project, and at the beginning we decided that mix both automation and manual, so mix skills should be used on this project. So it's also, yeah, quite probably complex, so a bit harder to find this such skills, but you need to do this, yeah. And with some configuration and plus good automation engineer to support the solution. The next cons related to this is a cost, because of you need infrastructure, you need some additional services, you need quite more skills, more not cheaper, but yeah, more payable skills, and the result, yeah, the cost will be more for this solution. But in case we are trying to go faster, and this was customized, this was a goal. We need to go to the production every 2 weeks. So you need to buy some, yeah, probably some fast car, and yeah, definitely this needs some money. Again, in case we are expanding our automation, more and more effort to support. You also need to have something like a good DevOps team, good set up your whole infrastructure. It should be stable dev environment, stable test environment, and so on. And pay attention. This is like a red mark that proper pyramid should be used, and it's a must. We spent probably a bit more on automation, on end-to-end tests, and yeah, in the end of the project, we faced with some issues because more and more time for stabilization, for running, for execution, and even in the end, as I mentioned before, that we run the whole automated regression testing, and the rest probably, in case of some test cases failed, we run them manually, yeah, during the investigation, automation, and so on, and analyzing the problems. And in the end, more and more automated tests was a bit unstable. But in case of proportion, yeah, percent of unstable cases, this is a constant. For example, 1% of unstable tests, something like this is a problematic test, yeah. This is a possibility, yeah. This is you're not able to run 100%, for example, end-to-end test, because it's problem with browser, with configuration, with running, with timeout, and so on. You can stabilize as much as possible, but it will be some percent which is missing, which is not running, and so on. And in as much as you have, as many as you have these cases, 1% is more and more and more. So pay attention on your test pyramid, and yeah, try to use this one, like in the picture, like beautiful pyramid as your test pyramid. This will be the main focus. Thank you. This is all for my case, and the next word is to Ola.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Today I will share insights on regression testing from 2 of my projects. And the first one, it will be about risk-based testing. So it was my first year at EPAM. The project was really dynamic and interesting. We had a team of 2 QAs, and for developers, the methodology that we used, it was Scrumban, like Kanban with Scrum elements. In general, it's not important here, but the thing is that was really challenging. Our releases on demand. It means that we didn't have a strict schedule for releases, and as a result, sometimes we had releases twice per week. Also, we didn't have automation test cases, so everything that was in regression scope was on our 2 manual QAs. So we decided to try to apply risk-based testing. And before we move to the next slides, I just want to warn you that don't be scared about next slides. Of course, they look swamped with information, but in a nutshell, everything is simple. Also, there are some cats just to make the slides less stressful for you. Okay, we can go there. So at the first slide, here you can see aspects that were taken into account. Here, I mean things that were important for us for product. Here you can see quite a lot of things like total number of bugs, bugs with P1 and P2 priorities, test coverage, and etc. But to be simple, you just have to find the risk factors that are important for your project and decide what is for you green status, yellow, or red. For example, here we have number of outstanding bugs, P1 and P2. So for us, from 0 to 3, it was green state, more than 13, it was red, and everything in the middle was yellow. Next slide. So here you can see all factors that were on the previous slide, but they are merged into a table. So in general, it should be one table, but just to post it into this slide, I divided it into 2 rows. Here just everything that we have previously. And on the next slide, you will see how it works. So you just select the values that corresponds to your area, and based on all values that were selected for every risk factor, using the formula that also shown here, you just count the total risk. So you will definitely receive the presentation with all the slides, so you will have the chance to go through these tables, and really it's like nothing difficult. So what is important here is that all important factors we are taking into account, and the result of I don't know, risky area or area where everything is fine is not just a gut feeling, but proved value. And based on these counts, you just can understand what can be skipped during the regression, or where cases can be just reduced a little bit. Next case. Okay, so here I will tell you about total change of testing approach. It was big project with manual and automation teams and large, constantly growing regression scope. The overview of the process will be on the next slide. Thank you. So, duration of the regression testing took nearly 2 weeks, with almost the entire team involved. At the outset, our regression process involved manual testers creating checklists from which test cases were formulated. Some test cases remained manual, while others were automated by automation team. We covered all 3 levels of testing, small, critical path, and extended. Additionally, we had one day that was dedicated for so-called ad hoc, where the part of the team explored the application using new, interesting interactions just to find uncover bugs. Of course, our regression process has had its drawbacks, and we will see them on the next slide. Thank you. So our coverage was extensive due to extended tests. Test cases themselves were very large, non-atomic, and as a result, unstable. The automation team sometimes struggled to fix cases because of the lack of knowledge of the functionality, and manual team couldn't always identify the cause of failed tests independently. So based on these challenges, we specify our goals. First one, reduce coverage, since bugs that were found within extended tests were rarely prioritized higher than major issues. Create test suites that were easily to maintain, and find framework to enable the manual team to write automated tests after brief training. As a result, reduce the automation team workload. Next slide. So what we did, we identified the main components of application. We determined the features that require test coverage and remove unnecessary ones. Established the approach to test writing. The idea was to have short and atomic test cases. Provided necessary training to the manual team, and the final and the most important part here, we completely rewrote all test cases. Also, we left ad hoc to cover scenarios that were not covered by test cases, but not for a day, but for some hours if needed. Next slide. So here you can see example of our ad hoc document. So it was quite simple, just areas with main features that should be checked. Assignee and status, also column for found bugs, and that's it. Just not to miss something. Result. Naturally, of course, it was discussed with the client. Yeah, our client allocated 2 weeks for this task. However, it took longer, and we continue rewriting test cases even during the regular sprints. Ultimately, we empowered the manual team to write and update tests, run them on CI/CD and locally, and analyze the results. This significantly accelerated the process, as time was no longer spent on writing steps first and then automating them. Manual testers directly created automated tests with Gherkin. Also, due to autonomy and short size of tests, we had stable suits, and as a result, it was easier to find failures and get feedback about the release quality. Point that should be mentioned, as you can imagine, due to these changes, number of mixed bugs increased after the releases, just because our coverage became less. But still, they were not critical or blockers, and this approach suited the customer. So as a result, we had a happy client. This is it from my side. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. And seems that we are ready to move further.
Guys, thank you so much for very interesting cases. And as we all have seen, how many projects, different experience, and how complex regression testing area is. Yeah, so we have seen right now, so based on your experience, so from project to project, how many different cases, client specific and so on, can be here. And I'm sure that audience will take into account your experience, maybe that help our guys, our colleagues in their regression testing planning. And before we move to the main part, Q&A session, I kindly ask our audience to scan QR code that you can see on the screen. You will be redirected to our talk page, and please feel free to vote our event or rate our speakers if you enjoyed our talk. If you enjoyed our session, and also feel free to provide a badge in our via community platform to our dear speakers. And now let's move to the Q&A part. QR code will be available for you during all our Q&A session. And the first question is, what is the main part of regression I should focus first? So guys, can you advise?
Yeah, this is a tricky question. Thank you for this question. There is no one answer related to that, and probably it depends. Yeah, as many times you could hear this word. Customer, client, or your users should be happy. Yeah, this is probably the easiest description. But under the hood, you can see that you should somehow to cover the best quality, what is possible with your resources, with your timeline, and definitely users should be also happy. You could, for example, go try to imagine a couple of situations. Yeah, you could go with the best quality, but you need to spend a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources, and probably client or users will be not happy on this. Or, for example, in other case, we do not spend almost anything and do not run any regression or just a couple of cases, and as a result, we save a lot of money, but as a result, the application is buggy. So this is a tricky, and you need to find a balance. So your users, your audience, your customer should be happy, and yeah, and at this time, happy it could be good application, good quality, proper time, proper budget, all of them in one case. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Igor. So yeah, just wanted to sum up. So we are all working in some time constraints, time restrictions, and so you can also, the author of this question can refer to our presentations that we'll share later on and see rigs-based slide where some general steps can be performed to start regression. Yeah. Cool. Let's move to the next question that we received. Guys, do you use AI at work, and is it whether it's forbidden or not in your particular role right now or project? Can you just share some
That's a good
experience?
question, but to be honest, definitely if you're going to use any AI tools, you need to have approval from your customer. But again, sometimes you work on some internal projects, on some CSR projects where AI is not forbidden, and definitely you can use this. And moreover, you can use AI tools, utilize some tools like generative AI, maybe even ChatGPT, just to automate you some routine tasks. To collect some information about your emails, to, I don't know, create some presentation, prepare for some reports and so on. You can request some, if you're using the Office 365, you can access Copilot. And Copilot actually bounded to all the Microsoft services, and you can easily work with some graphics if you I don't know, open Excel spreadsheet, I don't know, and you need to grab some information, statistics. If you work with a lot with a with some doc files, you can ask Copilot to maybe create some kind of or aggregate some information about the topics that you are going to discuss. So definitely, you need, if you're answering to this particular question, you have to obtain approval from your customer. But again, in nowadays, in our world, we see that customers is open to AI, but definitely they are curious about the security. And you need to provide justification to your customer that these tools that you are going to use, you propose to use within your project has really good security level. So we, let's say at IPA already have a lot of cases where customers are open to AI, and we already onboarded a few tools, some of them pretty popular. I don't know if you work with a Copilot, let's say. So yeah, it depends definitely, but we see that it's trend. And definitely AI will be somehow but affected almost all the SDLC and STLC phases.
Yeah, and I can also add that probably AI won't replace all our work and regression testing in particular, at least for now. Yeah, but using AI can significantly improve your productivity. And for taking some routine tasks, and even if customer didn't approve some AI tools, so you can use anyway to generate some documentation and so on. So when you use some not sensitive information there. Cool. Thank you, Maxim. Let's move to the next question. How often do you do regression testing in your company? It's back to you guys from the question for our audience.
I can share my experience, but not in the company, but on my latest projects. Definitely it depends, but we had a pretty good setup roadmap where we understand when some features should be delivered within such timelines. We also estimated how much effort, time, resources we need to invest into the development of this feature and definitely into the regression, assuming that definitely we need to add some buffer for some unexpected changes, maybe change request, feature request. Sometimes it happens, and so on. But I shared to you guys my two examples for one of the project, and we had a regression once every 6 weeks. Yeah, but again, it depends on project desire. It's a new feature, it's a legacy feature. Yeah, maybe Ola, Igor, you can share your examples.
Well, since I was working only on Scrum, so in most cases it was once per 2 weeks or something like that. But of course, sometimes we had something like hot fixes or anything else. Well, usually it depends on the project. Really, it's it's impossible to say that. Usually, we have regression once per 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, one word from my side. Usually, it connects to release cycle. Yeah, in case we are going to the production and we need to retest the whole functionality which is implemented during the release. Usually it depends on the release cycle, but also it's possible in case of you have some integration with different systems, with different tools and so on. In case it's a complex system, several vendors, several parts, it also should be could be something like a demand to check the functionality of your application, of your product, how it's interacting with a new version of a third-party application. And also in case, for example, as I remember, we also was working on some platform, and platform also it was like a separate release cycle, so they updated with not only our changes, our functionalities, but they also updated the platform with the new features, with the new functionality, with some bug fixes. And it was also like a schedule once per 2 months or 3 months. And as a result, we also running all our regression for our application and also trying to identify a problems part and related to the change log of the platform of the application, what is already implemented or updated, and our application is working on this platform.
Yeah, so just one thing that I want to add to Igor, yeah, there are like some other applications that can be connected to the product, but still, yeah, in case of Igor, they run full regression. In my cases, we just ran a regression for the parts of applications that are connected to these services or something. So in most cases, it was like smoke test plus like limited amount of test cases that are that cover areas that were like somehow connected to the changes.
I can also add from my side and from my experience. So we need to strive to run regression suite as often as possible, and especially if we have some long-term project with frequent releases. So we should strive to have it automated and reduce manual testing effort. For example, for my own project, we have quite big project. A lot of Scrum teams there contribute in monolithic application, and we have daily releases. Each day we have, almost each day we have releases, and we have regression cycle each day. And there are some limitations to run automation tests and so on. So if you're talking about, I don't know, microservices world, again, it's a bit different strategy that is mostly focused on regression of this particular microservice that you want to release and so on. So yeah. Anyway, if we sum up, so regression testing should be run often, yeah, in most cases, and should be automated. Let's move to the next question. Where did you find the time for so much optimization, calculation, and improvements, guys?
Probably you don't need to go to all optimization at once. Yeah, try to, in case you see that something is going wrong, you are spending a lot of time, you have a limited time, you are not able to cover with a good quality, yeah, and you see that you are demanding some changes, yeah, because client is unhappy, users is unhappy because a lot of issues, team is unhappy because, for example, some strict deadlines or time shift or need to, I don't know, to have retest or test in holidays and so on. In case you have some demand, you need to do some changes, yeah, because how to deal with the problem, identify the root cause and try to solve this, yeah. And try to use, yeah, one by one. Do not go to the all optimization at all. It will be a nightmare. Just try to pick up as more impact as possible and try to solve the problem at once, on this the one problem at once.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Would you like to add anything, Maxim, Ola?
And again, I would like to highlight that at the very beginning, when you join the project, you need to build a proper test strategy. And as a part of your test strategy, you need to also build what kind of regression approach or UAT will be used. All right. And if you follow like test-driven development, let's say you build a proper quality gates on some CI/CD pipelines and so on, as Slava, you mentioned, maybe you build some application where you don't have UI at all, maybe you just process some data, and definitely it will be useful to automate some API calls and focus not only some API testing, let's say, automation, but also introduce some contract tests, integration, system integration tests. That's why you will add it later to some CI/CD as a quality gate, and you will push your developers to stick that this desired quality threshold shouldn't be dropped, let's say. And as a result, they will, let's say, build and automate features like, I don't know, write some unit tests, test automation engineers will proceed with some feature automation, and that's all. And once you need to do a regression, you will understand that at the very beginning, you already predicted that through sometimes you need to do a regression, but you already set up a pretty good approach, and as a result, you need just to run it, and it will take like less time. So try to think about all this stuff at the very beginning when you just join the project, especially if it's a new project, a new, I don't know, setup. And if you properly build it in the very beginning, later you will definitely benefit from them. But again, there is a second situation when you join it a pretty big project where already you have some mess. Sometimes it happens, right? And definitely you need to do some assessment, maybe audit of your current process and focus automation. And here nowadays AI can help you. So actually you can utilize some AI just to grab, analyze some data on some defect statistic. You just feed some AI tools with your statistics, and it will recommend you provide some recommendation how you can optimize your testing approach. You can also feed some test case. I don't know if you work with a test management tool and you don't have a lot of test cases, but sometimes our AI tools have some limitation in terms of how much information can be processed at one time. But again, if it's possible, you can feed it, and this tool will automatically analyze, maybe rewrite, find some deduplication, some legacy. Maybe you need to quickly just change the format of that case to the BDD, like Gherkin approach, and then you can use these test cases to automation and so on and so forth. So no silver bullet, but again, just think, be creative, do some experiments, because we all work in Agile, and Agile assume that we need to experiment with all these processes, tools and technologies that currently we use. And if one approach doesn't work for you, it's not a problem. Just make a lesson learned and choose another one. Or maybe you need just combination of some of them. Yeah.
So guys, no matter who you are, junior or lead quality engineer, leave some space for optimization. It should be sit somewhere in your brain always, and don't focus only on some routine tasks. Try always to think how to optimize your time, how to work on improvements, to automate some processes that will give you some benefits and space for further improvements and optimization. Yeah.
Probably, Slava, yeah, one more comment from my side. And I want to also to highlight this is like this is a process, yeah. and even testing optimization going the project. This is a process. And for example, yesterday it was popular to run manual regression. Today it's popular to run automation regression, and you will find the benefits on this. And probably tomorrow it will be some AI testing or even quantum testing, sounds like this. It's IT is very fast changing, growing, a lot of different ideas, a lot of new introduction, and so on. So keep your fingers on the pulse, and you will see that probably sometimes a new features, a new frameworks, a new something will be added that will help you to run the project smoothly, to save the time, save the money, and so on. And after that, again, as demand is highlighted, then you need to do some changes.
Yeah. Cool. So we are running out of time, guys. Let's check. Okay, so we have answered all the questions. That's good. And we have several questions that we received in our VIA community platform. So dear audience, we will ask them later on. We will ask our speakers to answer on platform itself. Okay. Maxim, Ola, Igor, thank you so much again for being here today with us in ProQuality community. We will be happy to see you again as the speakers.
Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. It was a pleasure.
And we had quite interesting topic today. Yeah, quite complex topic, as we have concluded, and we will add additional extended deck with additional materials to our talk page, as well as a recording. And also we will send a feedback form that you will receive within an hour. So please welcome to leave your comments, leave your feedback that we will take into account to make our future events more interesting. So looks like that's all for today. Stay tuned, join ProQuality community in social networks, and may your test always be flawless. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.